Hi, my name is Luke Sheldrick. I own and operate Terramore Farm with my wife Dana Moores. We grow organic vegetables and cut flowers. Today I'm going to show you how we irrigate our entire 3-acre farm with the flick of a switch. There's one thing all plants need, so no matter whether you're a home gardener, a farmer, or a flower grower, you need water. Today I'm super excited to be covering our entire irrigation system. We're going to go through all the types of irrigation we have, how our pump works, our source of water. Our entire 3-acre market garden mixed of vegetables and flowers can all be irrigated at the flick of a switch. So I'm going to take you over to the pump and start there, and then we're going to walk through our entire system. It's crucial that an irrigation system is easy and efficient to set up and operate, because then we can do it consistently. Anything that's difficult or takes a little extra time, moving irrigation lines or anything like that, will add time and then also make it more likely that we're not going to do it, because we're so busy on the farm that we will not have time to always do these things. So it has to be as efficient as possible. Over the years, we've had our same system for 10 years, just consistently adding to it. And over these 10 years, we've been working with Dubois Agrinovation the entire time. We've worked with their technicians to continue to improve the efficiencies of our system. As the primary sponsor of this irrigation video, I'm super thankful to them to be able to invest back into bringing you this information and sharing what we've built here together. So the number one fundamental need for your irrigation system is, of course, a water source. A pond is probably the best option for a water source next to a well, but a pond is far more affordable and generally pretty straightforward to set up. It's also great that it adds biodiversity, all kinds of wonderful wildlife that join us in our pond. So after 1 year of operating our gas-powered pump here, we switched to an electrical pump. There was some additional work to get it directly hooked into our panel. So now that's what allows us to turn it on with the flick of a switch. Next up, because we're irrigating from the pond, we need this filter system. So it's very straightforward, straight out of the pump to here, and then through the filter and out to the field. The only additional information you need here is that sometimes you have to clean this, but when the pond is full, it's very rare. It's only when the pond gets low that there's a lot of gunk being sucked up through, and that's when we really need to clean it a lot more often. So we just have a schedule that we do it every 3 weeks, but if the pond gets low, then it's almost every week. So then out of the filter feeds into the lay flat hose, and this runs above ground. Let's get out to the field and we'll cover next how we have it split up into zones and how we have different headers at all of our plots. We have this lovely map to show to everyone on the farm all of our plots and also the locations of the main buildings, but most importantly, the irrigation lines and then where the headers are. So we have 21 plots, excluding our flower plots and our greenhouses. The lay flat hose that we've just mentioned runs out to the field and covers every area, all of the different plots. And then we have our headers coming out at each plot where we can set up our different forms of irrigation, whether it be a micro sprinkler line, an overhead sprinkler line, or drip irrigation. Because we can only irrigate a certain number of plots at a time, given the pressure of our system and our pump, we have these shutoff valves that are ball valves to break up the entire farm into 5 separate sections, and in each section is no more than 5 plots. This allows us to not have to, in the early years we were running around turning on and off headers, and this was causing us to take up a ton of time. So now we have these sections and we only have to go there to open or close the main valves and then adjust slightly within that section what we want to water or not water. So it really streamlines the system of also delegating to our irrigation manager and deciding for the week what zones we're going to open to irrigate when. Behind me here is a great example of how we use overhead sprinklers. So they do a full plot. Our plots are 8 beds wide, 30 feet wide, and we have 4 overhead sprinklers per 100-foot bed. So our plots are all 100 feet and 8 beds wide. This line does that perfectly. We like overhead sprinklers for most of our short season crops. So anything that's direct seeded like carrots, radish, turnip. We also use it for our beets, anything that's paper pot transplanted, or even our salad, our herbs, cilantro and dill that we plant every 2 weeks, and beans. So basically any field crops that are quick growing and aren't going to be in the landscape fabric where we're going to use drip irrigation. So right here is another great example. We have our drip irrigation. So this is one plot of 8 beds that's sharing 4 beds that are for the summer squash. So that's a long season crop that we plant into landscape fabric. And we space these plants at 2 feet on a single row. So we actually burn holes into a landscape fabric that is 4 beds wide, plant into them, and then run the drips underneath. So then sharing the same header as the summer squash is this entire cat tunnel. So 4 beds here and 4 beds here. Another great use for drip irrigation is for flowers. Flowers prefer not to have water on their petals or the plant itself. So here we are in the dahlia section. This is actually going to have a cat tunnel over it anyways, but all of our flower sections, we use primarily drip. In a pinch, we have used overheads for flowers. For example, if we have to transplant them and get them watered in, but as a rule, our preference is always to use drip with flowers. Next, we're going to poke our head into the greenhouse. The greenhouses are a little bit different because it's prime real estate. You want to be optimizing your plant growth. So let's go in there and we'll take a peek at that full setup and how we use it to automate drip in the greenhouses. So this system uses 2 1,000-liter tanks, a pump, and automation to fully automatically irrigate both of our greenhouses based on the cloud cover for that day. The one tricky part that we ran into was making sure that these were filling on time for our automation cycle to run. Because if these run dry, that causes trouble for the pump if it's trying to pump for an automated irrigation. So we added automation to our main pump valve so that it is matched with the same schedule as the greenhouses to ensure that it's always on filling this. So these will never run dry. They're always being filled from our pond water. And these also, our valves here also have filters. So it's filtered through at the pond, but it's also filtered here. So it's important that we check to make sure that our filters are clear as well. This is all from Dubois. Their technicians helped us design this system, troubleshoot it, make sure everything was working well. It's important to note that when you're speaking with a professional or trying to do this without speaking to a professional, you aren't really aware of the intricacies of plumbing and the importance of knowing what PSI is required to do what number of beds if you're running a certain number of drip irrigation lines. So through working with the professionals at Dubois, we were able to determine that this pump can only run 4 beds of 4 drip irrigation per valve. So we've installed 2 automatic valves for this greenhouse and 2 automatic valves for our other greenhouse. And in an ideal world, we're actually going to replicate this exact system in our other greenhouse, but for now we're actually running both off of this one. Tomatoes are growing really well in here, getting all the water they need, our best harvests yet. Lastly, we're going to look at the micro sprinklers. So I'm actually going to open this one because we have micro sprinklers up there. We like to use our micro sprinklers for direct seeded crops like carrots where they need a lot of water. Like these only irrigate 4 beds, but they soak those 4 beds. So we use them in the cat tunnels in the spring and the fall. Like if we don't have time to run drips or something like that, just for efficiency's sake. And then also on direct seeded crops where we need to ensure that they're getting a really good, solid, consistent watering. And in this case up here, we actually just used them in a pinch because we didn't have anything else to irrigate with. So we used the micro sprinklers up here to ensure that we got 2 beds transplanted and they got really nice watering. So let's go take a peek. So as you can see, the micro sprinklers are phenomenal for throwing out a ton of water. We like to use them in the cat tunnels because they're multi-purpose, whereas there are other irrigation systems where you can hang them from the roofs, and maybe one day we'll get those. But for us, we wanted to have something that could irrigate 4 beds and then also have another use. So we used to run our entire wash station off of one hose that ran off the pump from our house. But unfortunately, that was a huge bottleneck with the efficiency of washing the amount of vegetables that we wash. And also, because of that, we were unable to water our nursery at the same time, and we run into trouble when we want to run a hose to wash our totes. So we had basically a massive bottleneck in this area of our production. So we spoke to the folks at Dubois, and they suggested, again, this 1,000-liter tank setup with the same pump, but now we're able to run 3 hoses at high pressure all at the same time. So it's a wonderful setup. We're just going to show you really quickly what it looks like. So just like the greenhouse, this tank fills on a float valve. So the water from the hose that we used to use is actually always on, and it only opens the valve as the water depletes. So it's constantly essentially filling as we need it. Then the pump feeds out of here and splits at a T. So it goes this way for our hose that we have out this door for washing totes. And then it feeds this way to a hard pipe all the way over here, up and over, and splits again to our wonderful high pressure spray hoses, which are for filling our tanks and also for washing vegetables. Let's see some pressure. So you can hear the pump kick on as soon as we start to use the hose. Like everything here is from Dubois as well. This gun is a high pressure, literal vegetable washing gun. And then all of the hardware, etc. and the plan was from Dubois. They helped me walk through the plan. I gotta do these onions. I got work to do. Bryn has quotas, guys. Like, what is it, 50 bunches a minute? I don't know, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I could do, I don't know. With this new hose, we got to adjust the quotas of like what our expectations for the wash station are. Because we're going so fast now. And then also, yeah, the pump can easily run 2 hoses at this pressure. So it's really good. It also fills our tanks faster, so that is lovely as well. You definitely need your wet gear on when you're using it. So Dubois also sells a really great Sky Cotton, lovely waterproof outerwear. Actually, yeah, Emily's got them on. Nice stuff. Good job. Thanks so much for checking out the video, and thank you to Dubois Agrinovation for sponsoring it and bringing you this content. Any farm or garden, no matter how large or small, should be exploring the idea of introducing irrigation of some kind. If you're looking to grow happy, healthy plants, you can't be leaving it to nature. You need a good irrigation system that can provide you with the water you need when you need it. My name is Luke Sheldrick from Terramore Farm. My wife Dana and I grow organic vegetables and cut flowers. If you liked this video and you want to see more, please hit subscribe. We're showing what it's like to grow profitably on a small scale farm.